Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we sat down and talked about why vision is so darn important. Today, for episode number 328, we are going to do an episode on proactive versus reactive gratitude and what that means to you.
Yes, we are. But before we jump into this virtual episode in this virtual world,
Another one.
we're going to go to the hyperconsciouspodcast.com. Click on join #hyperconsciousnation. Folks, if there was ever a time to connect virtually with like-minded growth individuals, it is now. Join us in that group. Kevin and I are committed. We've been saying this for a while. Committed to get in there more often. I will be going in there today. I'm committing myself right now. Kev, you should do that too, brother.
I can do that.
You can do that. He
that.
says with reluctance. No, I'm kidding. And also coaching, Kevin says.
Yes. So speaking of gratitude, if you are working with Alan and myself, one of the first things we're going to talk about with you is your gratitude practice. Every single one of my clients, I try to help them create a fire system of success. And always, I think having gratitude in there is super important because we're going to talk a lot about it today. But if you're not grateful for what you have, you'll never be grateful for what you're going to get.
Right.
Right. And I think that's one of the basics that it doesn't seem like it does a lot. It doesn't seem like it makes that big of a difference until you stop doing it. You realize, okay, maybe I was getting some sort of results from that. Maybe not the results I expected or, saw coming, but the results that will add up over time. And that's what coaching is. Like it might not seem like it's a game changer in the moment. Like how many conversations have we had that we look back on and we're like, holy shit. Like imagine if we didn't have that conversation. I think that's very similar to what coaching is. And you're going to be pulled into the deeper depths of hyperconscious. We'll be talking about the stuff that we don't necessarily talk about on the podcast.
Fitness, business, lifestyle design, gratitude. If you want someone in your corner that wants to see you win and be grateful along the way, Kevin or myself is your person.
Let's hammer this.
Let's do it.
Why are we doing this?
So you already made an awesome point. So first and foremost, the point you just made was basically like not being grateful is an unwinnable game. It makes life an unwinnable game because what's wrong is always available, especially at a tough time like this. And so is what's right. So if you're constantly focused on the gloom and doom of what's going on right now, you're going to feel like crap and therefore do nothing about it. And
I think gratitude, when I say gratitude is the attitude, I say that all the time. It's because you can find gratitude in almost anything if you search hard enough. Like if you
search, yeah.
You got into a car accident, you can be grateful that you didn't get injured.
Right. Or grateful that you didn't die, even if you did get injured.
Right. And I think that it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not grateful for what you have now, if I give you more of something, you're probably not going to be grateful for it. Just like if you don't take care of the things that you have now, I could give you a brand new car and it's not going to change.
Right.
It's not going to change. So it really is a reframe of your attitude. Like, what can you be grateful for today?
So this episode came about because my girlfriend Emilia and I were hanging out in her room, and I think she was on a tough call earlier that day with she's in real estate, and some of her clients are going through a really tough time trying to sell their houses. This is a very big issue for people trying to buy and sell homes right now because they can't go in and tour these homes. And there's a lot of people that are out of work and a lot of things going on there. But I remember when I first got together with Emilia, I told her, and this is one of the highest compliments I can pay someone, is you are one of the most grateful people I've ever met in my life. As a matter of fact, at the time I said, you are the most grateful person I've ever met in my life. She practices gratitude. Like no matter what happens, she always finds something good about it. Always. And she's far better than me at this. But I asked her, what do you think our listeners need right now? Because this is a really tough time. And she said, honestly, I've noticed during this difficult crisis that people who were not practicing gratitude prior to it are having trouble looking for what's good when what's wrong is so in our face.
Right.
So that's why we're doing this today. And I think this is going to be a powerful episode.
Yeah. So the first thing, like right off the bat, I would say we always talk about systems, having systems for your habits, having systems for your relationship, having systems for your money and figuring out, where you are, where you're spending all that happy jazz. But what about for gratitude? Like, what are you doing every single day in terms of gratitude? I know when I do my morning journaling, I always write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. Some of these I don't even have yet.
What'd you write down today?
What did I write down today? It's a good question.
Do you have your notebook?
No. No. I always write So it was, one of them was definitely my amazing relationship, the amazing communication, the support. One of them was my health, both physically and mentally. One of them was, this is one that I do is like a reframe. And this is kind of like quantum. This isn't necessarily something that has happened, but that my anxiety is gone. I do that often. I do that
Wow.
often for financial freedom, which I usually do that. And then that my family and friends are healthy through these times right now.
Powerful.
But it has to be, it's a habit, because that's the thing. It's like, if you did that once a week, okay, that's better than not doing it at all. But what being proactive means is, it means you are doing it ahead of time. You are doing it
regardless of circumstance.
Yeah. You're not reacting like, oh, I got a flat tire. I really should have been grateful that my car crapped the bed. I really should have been grateful for it. Well, what if you're grateful for it now? Even if it's a piece of crap,
Right.
Even if it's not the nice car that you want, you can be grateful that it gets you to the job to afford to get a new car eventually.
Right.
And you can also be grateful for things that haven't happened yet, because if you are, you're going to be more likely to do the things necessary to actually get those. I always write, I'm grateful for my financial freedom, because that's something I'm working towards.
Always.
Right? If you can't be grateful for it in advance, I mean, if you can be grateful for it in advance, it'll change the way you appreciate it when you get it.
Here's an interesting thing that I never noticed before. So Kevin's grateful for his financial freedom in advance, even when you were in a scarce financial spot.
Yeah.
So you felt that gratitude in advance, and then we act on our feelings as humans. So it's kind of like a cheat code a little bit of like, when you start feeling something in advance, you start sort of rewiring yourself in that direction.
Yeah. I wrote for months that I was grateful for my amazing relationship before I had one. Months.
And then that got your focus.
Yeah.
And your feeling, and therefore it manifested.
You're signing up. You're signing up to say like, okay, I'm grateful for my amazing relationship. Okay, but who do I have to become in order to get that?
Right.
Like, what do I have to do? It's hard to say I'm grateful for my financial freedom and then do nothing about it.
Yeah, it is.
Right. Like, and I think if you're willing to write it down, you're going to be far more likely to hold yourself accountable to that in the actions.
Especially if we all act on what we feel. So if you're feeling something in advance, that's like a real pull. It's an interesting thing. I never even made that connection quite to this extent before. One thing I'll say, quick little test for all our listeners right now, like, okay, focus on your pet. Like, picture your pet right now. If you have a dog or a cat, like, I guarantee you're getting flooded with all these incredible feelings. If you love your pet, unless you have a terrible pet, obviously. Okay, now focus on the horrible things going on in the world right now, and the pandemic, and the fact that you can't see your friends and family. Like, we all feel a little more like shit right now.
Yeah.
Okay, if you wake up feeling like shit every day, pardon my French, what are the chances you're going to go get after it and make things better? It's going to be harder. Of course you're going to find this. We're going to have the Indistractable guy, Nir Eyal, on the podcast on Friday. And he talks about in his book, and you and I have masterminded with Mark Metry about this, how when you're uncomfortable, that's when you seek distraction and vices. And think about, if you're focusing on uncomfortable things all the time, of course you're going to slip into Netflix or vices, which is just going to perpetuate the problem. So I think gratitude is there are very few things that are as powerful as gratitude, in my opinion. And before this episode, we talked a little bit about having gratitude practice and how we want to make sure everyone had one. And you do have one, and you are really good at that. I have one with Emilia, but on the preamble, we were talking about how I don't have one for myself. It turns out I do. I just remembered, every time I touch this necklace around my neck, my true north, I always think of 5 things I'm grateful for. Honestly, it's almost always the same 5 things: Emilia, my mom, my sister, my health, and my mission. And it's like, that happens probably 3 or 4 times a day, where I touch this or adjust this.
Yeah. So you do have one. You have a system in place. I just think that's the thing. Like, times like this, that's why it's so important to have a system, because it'd be very easy to slip into feeling bad. Like, even you and I never said I was grateful for the gym, because I didn't realize that it could go away.
Dude, right?
So this really reframed for me. Like, I'm grateful for so many things. Being able to go to the store and smile at somebody, like, that doesn't happen now because everybody's freaking out, and it's just, if you can be grateful along the way, when the stuff goes away, it won't feel as bad.
Like going to the store without a mask.
All right. So, and the other thing is this, like when this does go, Thanksgiving, we do episodes every year around Thanksgiving talking about gratitude and why it's so important.
Right.
The number one thing is after Thanksgiving, most people forget about it. Like, what if instead of doing 1 day a year of the stuff that you were thankful for and grateful for, you did it for 365 days a year? Your life would look infinitely different.
It's got to be a ritual.
Yeah.
Just like we go to the gym every day, it's got to be a ritual. I think gratitude is one of the most important.
Yeah.
So you have a ritual where you wake up every morning, you write down what you're grateful for. Do you have like a before bed? So you and Taryn do gratitude, right?
Yeah. So I do nightly with Taryn, and then I do morning with me.
Powerful, man.
So start and finish. But I could probably do more solo at night. Like,
what's an example of something you weren't grateful for that you wish you had been more grateful for?
Just in general?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the gym is the easy one to focus on.
Right.
Like, if you're grateful that you get to go to the gym, like that's a whole reframe, having to go versus getting to go.
Right.
What does that actually mean?
I have that written down.
You're grateful that you get to go.
Right.
Right. And I never realized like how much I actually enjoyed it when I'm dragging myself there some mornings. Now it's like I would kill to drag myself there.
Right. Right. In my speech, I talk about that. And I have a flashcard in my pocket at all times that says there's someone in a hospital bed right now begging God for the opportunity that you have in this moment to make a difference.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because right now there's more people in hospital beds than almost ever. And it's like, if you weren't grateful for your health before, please be grateful for your health now.
Yeah.
And prove it, more importantly, prove it with your actions. You know, that's the other thing. Like gratitude isn't just a thing you say or feel or think or focus on. It's actually something you act on.
Yeah.
So for example, if I'm grateful for you as a friend, I should show that in my actions.
Yeah, that's a very important piece of it, because you can say it. There's a difference between saying something and doing something.
Right.
I'm grateful for versus like showing gratitude. There's two different things.
Right. Both are important, but one is no replacement for the other.
Right. It's like saying I love this person and then I don't ever tell them, or I am healthy but I don't take care of myself. Like there's a difference.
Exactly. I'm grateful for my health, but yet I, do all these unhealthy things. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So another thing I've been trying to do, and this is like a reframe, I would often say like, I can't wait until we have the new studio.
Right.
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 What if we reframe that is, I'm so grateful that we're going to have this amazing studio.
So powerful.
Think of the difference. I can't is not abundant. That's scarce.
It's negative.
Putting restrictions on it.
Dave Meltzer would be pissed.
Oh, he would be so angry. But I think I was laying in bed and I thought of that. Like, I don't know why I say I can't wait so much. Like,
I know.
By saying that, I'm probably waiting longer.
Dude, you ever see the movie Click, where he fast forwards time?
Yeah.
And then he regrets it because he just wanted to wait to the next thing. Like every moment that was quote unquote uncomfortable or that he disliked, he was just trying to get to the next thing. That was a really, well, it's a pretty terrible movie, but it was a great concept because it's like, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I understand why people say it, and I've said it too.
Same.
But we have to make sure we're not actually embodying that, like, I'll be happy when. Because, that's an unwinnable game. I'll be happy when I'm a millionaire. I'll be happy
in my
when.
mind, when I say it, it just feels different. Like, I'm so grateful that we're going to have an amazing studio. Because what it does is say, like, it's putting it out there that it's going to happen.
Right. So the belief is there.
Like, right. It's almost like, yeah, it's proactively locking it in your consciousness that this is going to happen.
Right.
Versus, I hope it happens. Like, I can't wait. I hope it happens eventually.
So true, man. And it's just a matter of time. Have you ever heard of what a presupposition is?
No. Yeah.
So, so a presupposition is whenever you say something, there's a lot of presuppositions. So if I say, Kevin's in great shape, a presupposition of that is that you have abs.
Okay.
Okay. So when you say, I am so grateful for the studio we're going to have, the presupposition is that that's going to happen.
Right.
No matter what. And it's like, it's powerful. It's powerful.
It is powerful. So we have 20 seconds on the clock. Is there anything else?
Oh my God, we do.
My challenge is creating a practice.
Right.
If you take nothing away from this episode, tomorrow when you wake up or tonight before you go to bed, I think you should sit down and write out and feel 5 things that you're grateful for. People, places, things, ideas, feelings, stuff in the future, stuff in the past, stuff in the present. Like, I would just feel that stuff. That's my takeaway.
That is so important. If you don't have a gratitude practice for your relationship and for yourself, that is the first place to start. Dave Meltzer says that. Oprah says that. All successful people, not all successful people, but many successful people just preach that, and we do as well. Is my timer going off? Oops. The thing that I want, the main takeaway, not to forget, is whatever it was that you took for granted prior to this pandemic, let's not forget that those things aren't a given.
Right.
Just earlier today, my mom wanted me to help her with moving a snowblower because we're selling this home. And I was so busy and frustrated because I was in the middle of flow. And I said, please wait until after we're done podcasting at 6. And she said, I'm not waiting. And I immediately said, you know what? I don't want her to hurt herself. So I'm just going to go out and help her. Because I shifted from frustrated to gratitude of like, I'm grateful that she's healthy enough to be doing a lot of that stuff while I'm working. And I don't want to take her for granted and then have her hurt herself and then wish I had helped.
Right.
So be proactive about your gratitude. And at least then when bad things happen, you won't feel like an ungrateful like person. You'll feel better and therefore do better.
Oh, we always talk about reverse engineering regret. Like, this is kind of reverse engineering regret, but reverse engineering how to avoid it in the future. Like,
exactly.
It's a whole thing. And I just think, like anything else, it's a practice, because if you weren't practicing it before this happened, it's hard to build that practice now when there's so much scarcity.
Right.
You know, and you can control it at the end of the day. So that is what we are chatting about. We hope you enjoyed this. Up next, we are going to do a Scratching the Surface episode on why goal setting is so important.
Goal setting. I remember we did an episode a while back.
We did.
On goal setting, and we came up with 8 reasons why setting goals is so important. And it was the 8th one. The least important one was getting the actual goal. So this is going to be awesome. We haven't done one in a while, and I think goal setting is super important, especially now when things are going crazy.
Yeah, and I think we can talk about the independent macro that we talked about. We were talking about the Friends episode, and how that actually applies to this, because it does. Like, if your goal is to spend more time with people that inspire you, if you have a bigger goal, you'll actually be able to spend more time with them.
Right.
Because you'll all be getting better because of one another versus, you just wanting to be around that person. If that's your goal, then you need to set a bigger goal, because that'll make more of you. And a byproduct of that is getting to spend time with those people if they're in alignment with that goal.
100%. 100%.
Do you dig it?
I dig it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed, and we will talk to you on Friday.
Talk to you Friday.
Bye.